So guess who's playing president? That would be Gavin Newsom. And he's not in California right now. He's down in Brazil. And he's repping America at the UN Climate Talks conference underway in Belém. Politico calling him, quote, the climate president in waiting. The world wants an American climate leader, and Gavin Newsom is happy to play the part, even if the country he represents isn't quite ready to follow. And the governor is more than happy to play into that narrative.
It's an ideological war at the federal level. And it's captured interests, period, full stop. Follow the money. It's captured interest. And we're as dumb as we want to be. We are doubling down on stupid in the United States of America, and not in my state of California. Right now, we have an invasive species in the vernacular of climate by the name of Donald Trump. It's not about the rule of law. It's increasingly about the rule of dawn. And I hope it's dawning on many of you how real that is.
Is it dawning on you, Greg?
It's
dawning. Full stop.
Yeah, full stop. Are you
saw stuff? I'm ready to talk.
okay? There was something up there that you were supposed to.
I mean, I'm ready to just get going.
all right. You know, it's 2 days ago.
Sorry, script.
Okay, so here's what I'm curious. So they got this big climate thing.
Here's the thing. When he said full stop, it just reminded me on Monday, he said full stop. So he says full stop all the time, and we made fun of him for a whole show.
No, it's true. It's true. Full stop is basically telling people I have no examples to back up what I'm saying. And when I say full stop, you're supposed to just let me go, which makes him really full stop an idiot. I am curious, though, about how do you do a climate conference now when the climate agenda has been fully discredited? And it's discredited by a number of things. One of them is we have an incredibly more educated, skeptical public, especially since COVID. People read stuff now. They don't think about everything that the media has been discredited on, whether it was the Biden's presidency, collusion, COVID, crime, illegal immigration. Do you think that they were all lying there, but they're telling the truth on climate? No. It's all the same everywhere. So how are they going to do this? They told us the world was going to end, and it didn't. We laugh now at their hysteria of persuasion. It doesn't work. And the climate computer models have been shown to be corrupt. They're wrong on predicting everything from the temperature increases to the snow or ice melting. And then what they did is they adjusted the predictions to kind of follow their changing narratives. So it's like taking a math test and changing the questions so your wrong answers now appear right. I don't know how they're going to convince anybody after taking $1 trillion from taxpayers, money that could have gone to starving people, build housing, Jesse's hair, you name it. Instead, it went down this giant thing, and it went to people you don't even know, activists, lobbying groups, people who do own yachts, because that's where the money went. It didn't go to save the earth. It went to save somebody's mansion.
Well, and also when he says full stop, it reminds me, Kennedy, of how the climate lobby for so long said the science is settled, which meant that you were not allowed to say anything, full stop. But did they miss the Bill Gates memo from just 2 weeks ago in the New York Times, in which he said, this is not the emergency we thought it was?
They did not miss it. He is their sugar daddy. He is their sponsor. He was bamboozled into carrying their water in gilded buckets for years and years. Unfortunately for them, Bill Gates does read, and Bill Gates does understand what the point of science is. Science is never settled. The point of science is to constantly be questioning the data and to question itself and question the conclusions. That is the point of the scientific method. And so now you've got a multi-billionaire who has spent his life trying to better and empower people, especially in sub-Saharan Africa. And he realizes, well, if we're just focusing on carbon emissions, we are missing the fact that people are still living in poverty, and we are not using innovation and technology to speed up their advancement into third world countries. Yep. So you're allowing people to malinger in poverty because you want a virtue signal, because it makes you feel better. And, you know, for Gavin Newsom, he uses climate to not do anything in his state. He doesn't update the power lines. He doesn't clear the dried brush in wildfire areas. And then you have calamities like the Pacific Palisades fire. He doesn't do any of that stuff because he says it's all the fault of climate change. And all he's doing here is operating in contrast because he knows the president isn't going to go there. He knows it's not part of the Trump agenda. He also knows that there are no other 2028 figures who are in Brazil right now. So he's a narcissist. He wants to be fawned over and followed by the press. And he also wants to show that he's doing something that Kamala is not doing. And so in addition to constantly making Trump the villain for the next 3.5 years, he has to push Kamala out of the way. And he's using these preeny little pulpits like a climate conference to do just that.
And Jesse, one of the reasons people are leaving California are the energy policies and the prices. One of the biggest drivers is that next year they are looking at $8.50 a gallon because of his policies, and that's why people also want to leave.
Yeah, the only way you survive in California is if you're very wealthy or you're homeless. Everybody in the middle gets squeezed out. And the fires were caused by a 29-year-old Biden donor. He started the fire. It wasn't climate change.
He was a climate activist.
Yeah. This guy, he's like skinny Al Gore, all right? He flies down to Brazil, crowns himself the Green Prince. This thing's over, the climate scam. It's like DEI. It's done, all right? We tried it. It didn't work. It caused inflation. Everyone's utility bills went up. The temperature of the world didn't go down. And then China gets paid. The donors get paid, but everybody else didn't. It makes the rich richer, and it keeps the lower and middle-class people from rising to the top. And that's how they want it to be. Now, Gavin's smart, you're right, because he is elbowing Kamala out. She's on her 107-day how to lose an election tour, talking about herself. While Gavin at least looks like he cares, but no one else really does. This is 2% of the American public think climate's the top priority. He's kind of out of touch with it, but at least he's doing something. And he has been active. He dropped that stupid podcast. He's suing Trump. He's redistricting. He's doing stuff. At least he's doing it. Kamala's just sitting on her keister talking about herself.
Harold, at this event, the Colombian president, Gustavo Petro, said Mr. Trump is against humankind. The Chilean president said that Trump's view that human-caused climate change is a con job, calling it a lie. And you would imagine that as the UN representative, he is there representing the United States. You think he defended the president on that?
I feel very strongly about any leaders going outside of the country and having foreign leaders say terrible things about our president. They should say, you shouldn't say that. I disagree with him on issues. So I've said when President Trump has done that and allowed Putin to say bad things about Biden, I say it against Gavin Newsom. You shouldn't do that. Although he's not the president, you still shouldn't allow people to talk about your president. He's got a little wind in his back, Newsom does. He had a good week last week. So he's doubling down a little bit. I get it. If he does run for president, he'll have a lot of things to answer for around his policies, around some of the positions that he's taken in California. He's a good-looking guy. He's well-spoken, and he's willing to take it to President Trump, probably unlike some other Democrats. But if I were him, I'd spend my time a little differently. I would really be talking about the things that I think animated this election over the last week and a half, which is prices of things, which is affordability. Prices are up. Wages are stagnant. Energy bills and insurance bills, especially for the American people, are high. We see an AI, massive investments in AI, which are going to create a lot of opportunity and a lot of innovation, but it's displacing a lot of workers and it's consuming a lot of energy. California has been a great leader throughout my time in politics, and for that matter, throughout its time as an American state, of being one of the leaders in helping us to think about the future. That's what I would be doing more if I was him, as opposed to perhaps being at this climate conference. And even adding on to that, I just don't think you criticize the president of the United States and you leave the country. You can come back here and say what you want, and I don't think an American leader should ever allow a foreign leader to come in and criticize a former president as well, which is why I was critical of President Trump for letting that thug Putin say what he said about Biden.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.